Okay, obviously my opinion is biased because I don't watch a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not intentional. I just don't feel like it most of the time.
Yeah.
You know, like our direct friend Mac, like the dude watches like a movie a week basically. He just
I remember
you know,
Tom Cruise says something like
he
he
just
tries
loves
to
it.
watch a movie per day.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
A day.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But like as much as I love movies, after like I'm not gonna be like, oh, I gotta go watch a movie like when I go home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't feel that. I might get, ooh, I gotta like edit this video when I get home. Do you know what I mean? I might feel that if we're talking filmmaking stuff, but I'm not gonna feel, or I might want to like, I want to go write a scene or something. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not something that I feel the pull to do, but very rarely I do. And then like, I am like totally locked in the whole 2.5 hour runtime, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you're this way, but I watch a movie and I could basically recount the entire thing. Like after one watch.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like that. It was funny because I watched Murphy's Law a second time.
A second time?
Yeah.
Dude.
And I've noticed like in terms of like the lighting you did. And I'm like, huh, you know, and like the lines like that Caleb, our friend Caleb would say. So like it would definitely have to take me a couple of watches to find the little details, you know? Yeah.
What do you think of Murphy's Law? Well, you watched it twice, so it must have been good.
It was very close to home.
Isn't it? It's like
very close to home.
It's
man.
so hard to like. I can never like. I only recommend that movie to like film people for like technical reasons. Like I was like, because we were talking about you're acting like I've seen stuff you're in. I've filmed you, so I obviously know your craft. And I was like, oh, like this is what I do. So like here's Murphy's Law. Yeah. Right. But it's not. I'm not gonna like. You know, my friend's like, hey, you want to watch this movie that low key might make you depressed? Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like, unfortunately, like the performances are strong enough to where it really does that to you.
Yeah.
Like I say, unfortunately, just because like, I don't know, like that's why the next like sort of project I'm working on, I told you, I was like, I want to make something that people can just watch. Yeah. They enjoy it. Oh, that was great. And I'm going to move on with my day. I'm not going to like be thinking about my ex for the next...
Dude.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I digress.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but that's, of course, that's what made this short film successful, is because it sticks in my brain. I keep thinking about it. You know? That's like, why it's so successful.
Does it make you feel good or bad, like emotionally?
I think both.
Okay.
You know? Both, because obviously bad because it's the thought of it.
It's a breakup movie, yeah.
But the good thought about it is that I'm not alone. It's relatable.
It's like someone else clearly went through something to where now they're making a movie about this.
Exactly. And that's another reason why like me writing this action adventure feature film I'm writing, it's like my dream movie. Because like it's like I want to make this action adventure based off my life. But I know that like certain events, like certain scenes, I know someone else is gonna have that same story that I have. You know? Okay. And of course, like it's like watching Murphy's Law. Like everyone has gone through that event.
I hope not, dude. That's a terrible event.
I mean, someone out there has to. But like,
unfortunately, I think it's getting a lot more common, especially with how the dating scene is right now. Oh yeah. So the it's not soft launch, but like the soft death, the slow death.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Dude, they're being filmed on the Murphy's Law camera and lens right now.
Really?
Yeah. I borrowed this for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
fun fact.
We'll go back to the dating conversation.
Okay.
But with Murphy's Law, what made you? Because I noticed that the first scene.
The ramen scene.
Yeah, the ramen scene. The lighting was green, and then the second scene it was red. Was there an intentional behind that?
So there aren't complementary colors on the color wheel intentionally. The green is it's like I like having works cited references in my stuff if I can. Like I encouraged Mac and Credit Man to have a Wolf of Wall Street like homage. Yeah. Right, because like clearly that's one of the main inspirations for that film. Oh yeah, we have a Glengarry Glen Ross homage in that film. Right, so like I really like having like, hey, like we're at least like we're aware that this other thing exists, you know, kind of like we're aware we're standing on the shoulders of some of these great films, right? The green was a direct reference to the breakup scene in La La Land.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because that film was based off of a project for your boy Don K. Williams directing class, and the only guidelines that he gave us was you're assigned an actor, and then you make a film with them, and that was it. That was super open ended. And so I asked Caleb, like, hey, send me some scenes where you really like the acting, and he sent me like a bunch of scenes like that, and one of them was the breakup scene from La La Land.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, we can do this. We could totally do something like this.
Oh yeah. Now, like when you mentioned La La Land, like yeah, I totally see it.
Jazz was also a reference to that.
Yeah.
The Miles Davis track in there.
Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah, it makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. You got like the complementary colors thing. Like green is the opposite of red.
And that was from watching it a second time. Because I was trying to find like, you know, like, okay. Like searching more in the story, you know?
Because it's like there is a reason for everything, but it may not be like the super in-depth reason. You know what I mean? But there is intent behind every choice.
It's funny, like when you mentioned, because there can be intent behind every choice, and there's also can be happy accidents.
Yeah.
That happen all the time, or you didn't even mean for it to happen, but it worked. Whether if it's like an Easter egg or a metaphor to the story. That's one thing cool about movie making, is that there's so many happy accidents.
Dude, it's incredible how often that does happen.
Yeah. Like when I was working on my ASU capstone, there was a point in the script where I shove the character.
Yeah.
Right. And then so that was like plotted in like the rehearsals. And then when we started shooting it, my other co-star found an opportunity to shove me earlier. So I was like, that was like another cool like you shove me, I shove you part. So that was like when we were shooting it. So that was like another detail we added, and that was a happy accident. Like because after the take, he was like, "Oh my god, like that! I didn't even realize about that. You know, I just shoved you. You know, that like Easter egg switch. You know."
Yeah.
So like we still like even like during like the shooting days, we still try to find little details in our performances. You know, so like the work it's amazing. You know, like
you're treating the film like it's already finished in terms of like we need to find this. Is that what you're saying?
I feel like the work's never finished.
Okay.
You know, like even like if we're shooting, we've already done so many rehearsals, it will still feel like a rehearsal. Like we're still trying to search.
I see.
So like the work's never like, I think Don said this, like your best performance is the show after closing night and the next take after you wrap. That's your best performance. Meaning like the work's never finished.
I see.
Yeah. And I think Denzel Washington said that too. Like you never stop searching, even like after you wrap the film. Like there's always going to be some detail that you find.
That tracks with Denzel, the way he's like, oh, I never look back. You know, he's like only forward. You know, classic Denzel.
Yeah. But like in terms of like the work, it's like you always find something.
One of the Easter eggs that happened, well, happy accidents with Murphy's Law. If you notice at the very end, like one of the last shots, I haven't seen this film in like 6 months, but one of the last shots is one of the lights is off, like the lampposts.
Yeah, like there was no red, like it was just.
Yeah. But like one of the lampposts is off. Like they're like twin lampposts, and one of them is off. So when I location scouted, that lamp was working. And then when we showed up on the day, it was broken. Yeah. And I was like...
And I know that location, too. I would drive by it multiple times. Yeah, the Palm Court.
Yeah. Palm Court. And so that light was broken. I was like, all right, that's the light they're going to be under, because that one is off. You know what I mean? And, you know, it's just like a whole thing.
Cool. Yeah. But soft death.
Dude, the soft death.
The soft death.
The you know, they go out, the relationship that goes out with a whimper.
Yeah.
You know, or it's just like, it was like really something I had to like talk to, I forget if it was Caleb or Audrey about, maybe both of them, like the idea that they may not realize it until this very moment, but they knew subconsciously that the relationship was over before the movie started.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sort of that off-screen lore.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, this is just a reaction to the relationship being over.
Yeah.
But you're still stuck in it.
Yeah, especially
because you're Gen Z and you don't like what's the word?
Confrontation.
Confrontation. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's funny you mentioned confrontation because that's all storytelling and acting is conflicts.
Mm-hmm.
It's like with acting, you do the stuff you avoid in real life. Like in real life, you avoid confrontation, but in acting, you don't. You know?
Can you expand on that?
Like, that's another reason why people go to the movies. They want to see drama. They want to see conflict. So like, when you're acting, don't avoid conflict. You're supposed to, engage it. You know what I'm saying? That's what an acting coach said. And I think Michael Shurtleff, he was a casting director, and he wrote a book called Audition. And he mentioned that in his book is like conflict is like what makes the scene happen. That's why a scene exists. There's always conflict,
Yeah, like you're making a scene. It's like, that's the point, bro. Like,
yeah.
I like that. The whole point is like,
because like if there's no conflict, it's a boring movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like no one goes to the movie just to watch normal life. You know, it's like we want to watch something like events. You know what I'm saying?
But it is life, but it's not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It reminds me of that Nicolas Cage clip where it's like, boring and mundane like real life. And he's like real life. You know what movie I'm talking about? I forget what movie it's from.
I forgot.
I see it on Reels all the time where he's talking about being a writer and like not having stuff to come up with because all he has is like, what if I want to make a movie that's boring like real life? And he's like, real life isn't boring. What are you talking about? It's a whole thing.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Where it's like people die every day. Someone just got shanked in an alley.
Oh, I've seen that clip.
Yeah.
I know what
I feel
scene
really
you're talking
bad for not
about.
knowing what it's called, but
Yeah,
I already
no,
said I
yeah,
don't
it was
watch
a very
movies,
popular. Yeah, I saw that on the Instagram reel. Yeah. And yeah, that's interesting too. Yeah,
I don't know. I'd say Murphy's Law is low key real life.
it is.
So
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, I don't know how to explain it.
I mean, I've seen that happen. I had seen that happen before I made that movie multiple times, and then it happened to me like a couple months after that movie. So I mean, but yeah, I don't know. What was your favorite part of the movie? What part stuck out to you the most?
I think the beginning of the scene with when you're gonna meet my parents.
Oh, like the interesting. So like the ramen scene.
Yeah. Because the parents, it's like I understand Caleb's character, it's like, especially with like meeting someone's parents, it's like you get so nervous, it's like it's funny, like everyone can be like confident in one thing, but when it comes to like meeting your significant other's parents, it's like, shit, am I good enough? It's like you're already expected to be hated.
Yeah.
It's not. It's
a really bad setup.
Yeah, exactly. And like, because like I totally understand like where Caleb's character was coming from, and of course the significant other's like, what do you mean? It's just my parents. It's like, if only she had a like empathy, like and like can see like why we would think like that, Because
that's really interesting.
That's very
daunting. What you got out of that.
It's very daunting, It's like, it's like, am I a good enough man? To like, am I going to be liked? Because it's someone's daughter. They care for her,
Yeah.
So like, it's like, fuck, like, am I good enough? Like it's nerve wracking.
The first note I wrote down when I was character drafting for his character was, I'm not good enough. That was the first note I wrote down for him.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you got that specifically out of that line, because that whole line represents him wanting a committed relationship without actually committing, right? Because that's her way to call him out on like without her saying, because I could write, why won't you commit to me? I just don't feel secure in my, you know what I mean? I could write that,
yeah.
but that, no one wants to listen to that.
Yeah.
So the parents' dialogue and that sort of like, because if you know, like the whole dialogue shifts at that moment. That's the shift in that scene, is that line delivery. And so that was the vehicle for why aren't you, so what she's saying there is like, why won't you commit to me, right?
Yeah.
And he's like wanting all the, it's like being emotionally available. It's like you want all the benefits of relationship without putting anything in it emotionally.
100%.
And that's sort of what that was calling out. So it's interesting that you derived his sort of character flaw from that exchange.
I feel like a lot of people,
that wasn't really the intention of that exchange, but that's kind of,
because I feel like a lot of people can really relate to that, you know, like you're committed without the commitment, you know? Yeah. Like, it's just, relationships are tricky, you know?
They're so interesting though, in like a film sense.
Yeah.
But like in real life, it's like, bro.
Yeah.
Do you, I guess, I don't know, this would be interesting because I know you talk about substitution a lot.
Yeah.
So like, would you, I don't know, that script was really brutal to write.
Yeah.
Because of like personal experiences. Do you ever do you have a role? I don't know if you could think of an example of one that was like kind of brutal because of that. Or like maybe like just a high moment of emotion in a scene. Like it could be like something good, you know.
Yeah. It's hard to I think there's two. The one is playing Tom in Glass Menagerie.
Okay.
Because
you'll have to explain that one to me. I haven't seen
the Glass Menagerie. It's basically like with my character, I'm like fighting to escape, to get out, to like, because basically the plot is like leaving, like he leaves his mom and his sister. Okay. To go away. I think he went like the army or something, you know, to go away, and just abandons them. And then his father left at a very young age. Like he, you know, so like he pretty much did what his dad did. Okay. You know, not that my dad left, but I think like, but like
this is the story of your character. Yeah.
I think like it's weird. I didn't use any substitution for that role because it was all like imagination. Like, wow, like I'm like finding a way to get out, but like then I play a future me where I'm regretting my decision. Yes. You know, I think that like was really like emotional because it's like I gotta make sure I don't do that. You know.
I completely understand.
Yeah.
I get this feeling. This is a lot less high stakes than what you're talking about, obviously.
Yeah.
But whenever almost never go out to eat by myself, especially not in a sit-down restaurant, especially not that. I would never do that. It's like, even if I was in a great mood and I was like, oh, I really want like a steak, I want to go to like get a steak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would never do that because it would bum me out, because whenever I go to like a restaurant by myself and get served at a table by myself, I always project myself like 50 years in the future. I was like, this is your trajectory. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Where it's like, this is what it feels like. This is a preview emotion to the emotion of having never found your kin or like someone you like, you know, like romantically or friendship, family wise.
And you know what's funny when you mentioned that about like never finding your significant other, you know? That's how I feel about like if I'm playing a role and like I win the girl in the end, right? Like in the story, then like when I stop shooting that story or that film and I go back to real life, it's like I don't have that person, you know? So like if I were to play, like if I'm in a romantic film, okay, you know, and I'm like I have like, you know, the girlfriend or whatever, you know, and then I look at my life, like I don't have that. I only have it in the story, in play pretend, you know. That psychological, it's like shit, You know,
Is it what's the feeling around that? Is it like jealousy for your character, or is it like just you're bummed?
I'm just bummed.
Mm.
You know, like I'm bummed when I'm not. It's like the feeling of like I can only experience this when I'm acting, not in real life. You know.
I know what you mean.
So I would think like, and I feel like that's why like a lot of people will write like romance.
Oh
in
yeah,
their
living
movies.
Vicariously through your characters.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's because they want to experience that in real life, you know. So they try to fill that void through writing. So if I'm playing a character, it's like cool. Like I get a girlfriend in this movie.
Yeah.
You know.
And the main character is a writer. It's just
yeah. But then like because like in real life, it's like I'm trying to fill that void. You know.
Yeah.
It's because
that's interesting you say that because when I was taking a class with Bill True, his screenwriting class, definitely the best class I took at that school.
Yeah.
I can happily say that. The feature I wrote it stems from what I wish, an experience I wish I could have had, that I feel like I missed out on.
Yes.
Right.
That's yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I was when I kind of realized that about my own piece. I was starting to think like, hey, we might, a decade from now, when Generation Z is in the industry and working, and actually has the power level to make executive decisions, we will probably see a lot of high school films because of what COVID did to a lot of people's high school experiences.
Yeah.
/ college, academia films.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally.
Where a lot of those scripts will start coming out where it's like, man, like, I didn't get to go to prom. Let me write this movie about a guy who gets to like go to prom.
So then like,
or a girl who like, you know, she becomes like prom queen and all her friends, you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally. Because I'm bleeding into my feature film is I'm writing something that I wish I have experienced in, you know?
That you wish you could have done?
Yeah.
Is it something you missed out on or you wish you could do?
I don't know. I think a bit of both, you know, without giving it away.
Okay.
It's still in writing, you know,
Yeah.
but it's like in a perfect world, obviously, no, like a film perfect world's not perfect, but like in a perfect world, this would happen. It's like I'm expecting myself in real life to not have that. So I'm going to write about it, you know, how I want it to go. You feel?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely very interesting. Yeah. Like you avoid going to eat by yourself.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
I'll go through a drive-thru and eat at home by myself because that's normal. I'm not going to sit in the restaurant by myself.
Yeah.
I just see myself in the third person.
What
like
about
at 55 years old with no kids, no family. It's just, man, this is just you, bro. You chose film and no one loves you.
That's why I don't like working part-time jobs. Anything that's not acting, I hate. Because then I project myself working there for a long time and not being an actor. You know?
Okay.
So that's why, like, I try my best to not work a part-time job.
Because you're like, this is going to be me in 20 years.
Yes. Because I'm like, what am I doing? You know? Because, like, the moment I quit that part, I've gone through a lot of part-time jobs. But like every single time I quit a part-time job and I focus on acting, that's when I feel like I'm making progress, no matter how little progress it is. You know, it's like if I'm working the shift, I just feel dead inside. It's like, what am I doing? Like, this is gonna be me 50 years. I feel like Squidward. You know.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's dreading.
Yeah, and then you'll see like some old people at your job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dude, that does things to you. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. 100%.
It's like it's like a mom like trying to make money for her kids and like, bro, I'm doing this job and I'm like 20, you know.
Yeah,
or like
yeah.
when I was working at Wendy's back in the day, it's like there's like a grandma working there. It was not good for my mental health to see that every day.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Because then it messes with your head. Like, oh my God, do I have to wait this long for my dream to happen?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because like then like a lot of, you know, you get a lot of people saying like, oh, you know, don't expect to be an overnight success. You, like, expect 15 years and then you break in the industry and then and I hate it when people say that, because it's feeding into it will feed into your subconscious mind that, oh, I gotta wait this long. But of course, everyone's on their own time, so you never know. It's like I can have my big break a year from now, or 20 years from now. I don't know, because I'm on my own time,
Yeah.
So but I just hate it when people are saying like, expect. I get where they're coming from, but it's like, don't feed me that to my subconscious.
Yeah.
It's
like you have enough negative emotions from yourself.
Yeah.
I don't need you telling me.
It's just like, bro, like.
It's like, bro, you don't think I think about this like every night when I go to bed?
It's just like, I would rather, again, back to Arnold, I would rather think that I'm already living in it,
Yeah.
It's like, why do I want to keep thinking about, oh, it's going to take me 15 years? No, like, I want to think about, just one more year. Because then that puts me in a better mood, And,
that's interesting.
You know, it's like, and like when you think about in that mindset, because that motivate, like, if you think about like, oh, like, this is going to happen soon. Okay, let's go. Then like that gets you amped up to like work hard and be prepared for it. So when the opportunity actually comes, you're ready for it. Because if someone tells you it's going to take 15 years, then a party is going to be like, all right, 15 years, I'll just sit around.
I'll just cruise for 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I would rather be in a mindset of like, no, like, you're going to have your big break. It's going to happen soon. You're going to have young success. When I'm adapting that mindset, then I'm like, okay, fast paced. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to train hard. I'm going to take this amount of acting classes, So then years later, like, it's accelerated growth because of that mindset adaptation. And mindset's really crucial, for sure. 100%.
That's really, like, I have a similar thing, like, because you're talking about like just waiting for your opportunity, like being ready for it. Like, I was like, oh, luck is when opportunity beats preparation, right?
Yeah.
My whole thing is like, I think that's one of the main reasons why directing was so attractive to me, because you kind of get to control your fate a little more. I feel like there's that, but there's also, all these other things about directing. But it's like, okay, if I am creating these banger movies, right? Or as Tarantino says, if I'm making kick-ass films, right? At that point, it's just like, will people recognize that it's good, right? And that's kind of what I'm waiting for, is people to understand that it's good. Like, obviously, right now, we're building our craft, right?
Yeah.
But when you get to the point where like you're just making good stuff, I find a lot of solace in knowing that, okay, if people did see this, if the right person saw this, they would know that I am blank, right? Whether that's good or bad, do you know what I mean? But like being really secure in like knowing, not like how good you are, but like just like the level of stuff you're making, right? Because you can be really good and make terrible stuff. We see it all the time, right? So it's like, if my output is at such a high level that I like know in my heart of hearts that like, hey, like, say nobody saw it, but I know that it was good. It's just, the fate said, no, the right people aren't going to see this. And that's something I'll have to deal with, right? But I know it's not like, hey, like, I just wasn't making good stuff. You know what I mean? And people just didn't dig it. Yeah. And it's like, if I'm at the whim of the algorithm, fine. Yeah. But I know that the people who do see this are like, dang, that was good. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Because like that kind of happened with Murphy's Law. Like, Murphy's Law, people talk to me about more than any of my other films. It has the least amount of views, least amount of engagement of any of my films.
Oh, yeah.
By far. It's at the very bottom of my projects in terms of engagement. But in terms of people talking to me about it, it's at the top. So, wow. I don't know.
Yeah. It's interesting learning, like, from, like, behind the camera, like, the career path, or, like, what to, like, the steps to do to, like, to achieve, like, in the industry.
It's interesting you say behind the camera, because I definitely feel like I'm in front of the camera. Whenever you ever show someone a really, not necessarily narratively emotional, but emotional for you scene, and you almost want to like put your hood up and like hide in the corner while they watch it. You ever shown someone a scene like that?
Yeah.
where like you were in it, or even worse, like you're writing and they're reading your script out loud to you?
Oh, I don't know. No. Yeah, like the putting the hood to like, yeah, I get that feeling.
Yeah,
you know,
like
because sometimes like it's funny, like if I'm watching like an acting clip and it's me acting,
mm-hmm.
if I don't get that feeling, then I didn't do a good job in that scene.
Yeah.
So
but,
if I'm like cringing at myself, then that means I did a good job, because then I'm like then
cringing in the right way.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, I can't believe I made that decision.
No.
Yeah.
It's like because it's me, and then like I'm portraying, what the character is feeling in his goal, and like I can tell like, oh man, like I can't believe I was acting like that. But that's good, because that's
Yeah.
I
feel that for me, at least, that comes from like being emotionally naked, right?
Yeah.
Being emotionally nude. Like, especially like when, like, so in Bill's class, whenever he would do these things where like he'd do table reads of these scripts every, once people start getting them done, the whole class was table reads.
Yeah.
And like I wrote a romance script, right?
Yeah.
102 page romance script.
Yeah.
And I was just like clawing my face off while they were reading this, because you're not allowed to read any of it. You just have to listen and absorb as people read your stuff. Like Bill will usually do the action lines.
Yeah.
Like so and so went to do this.
Yeah.
But then like you have to cast people in your class to play these characters.
Interesting.
And it was dude. It was. I feel that way, like especially directing. I feel like I'm very much so in front of the camera, especially when I show it to people. Where it's like I'm really it's like, oh man, like I can't believe you put that in there. Like that's dang, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's like kind of like Murphy's Law. It's like if you got that feeling of like, wow, that hits really close to home. Like imagine you made me, you made that.
Yeah, right? I would be like, oh man, I can't not believe I put that out there in the world.
Right?
Yeah.
Because like even like because you'll watch that like, wow, that really hit me here, and like you're thinking about yourself, but you're not thinking about, no offense, like you're thinking about yourself as you should as a viewer.
Yeah.
You're not, but you as a viewer aren't thinking about, wow, Ben put that out, like he must have a terrible love life, like, but as the creator, we feel like we're presenting that.
Oh, I see.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Like if I see you act great in a film, like if I watch Credit Man, I'm not thinking like, wow, like Zach like hates people. Like that's not what I think. You know what I mean? Like Zach must have so much experience in his life of like hating other people and screwing people over and lying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like we get that for like these emotional scenes, but not for stuff like that. You know what I mean? I'm not thinking like, wow, like, okay, well with Heath Ledger, people really did think that, which is crazy. But like with Jack Nicholson, like I watched A Few Good Men, I'm not thinking like, oh wow, Jack Nicholson is totally okay with killing people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't think that.
Yeah.
But and like you get these emotional films,
Interesting.
It's like you start thinking that people will think that. It's like, bro, you got to remember, like they're the viewer.
Yeah.
And they're thinking about themselves and how they feel about.
And that's true with real life. It's like a lot of people aren't focused on you. They're too focused on themselves.
Yeah.
And their insecurities.
Egocentrism.
Yeah, exactly. Versus like, so like when people are like, oh, I don't know if like, I don't want, like, I don't want people, I don't know how people are going to think about me. It's like, they're really not like, yeah, they'll see you for 1 second, but then they're just going to go back to thinking about themselves.
But if you did a good job, they'll only see you if you did a bad job. If you did a good job, I believe that they see them and you.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if it's like, it's like any art form in film, it's like if you did it wrong, now they're thinking about you, or if you did it poorly, now they're thinking about you, right?
Yeah.
Like if I have some like bad camera work, people are like, oh, who's the cinematographer? Now they're thinking about me, not for a good reason.
Yeah.
If I did a great job, they're not thinking about me, they're thinking about how that makes them feel.
But then it's funny because we humans naturally try to find something bad,
do we?
I think so. Like we always try to find something negative. It's like everyone has like a negative mindset, I feel like. It's like that's what I think. So when like I think so, Like just obviously like we don't purposely try to think negatively, but like it's like an energy, you know. It's like it's always like there's something negative, it's gonna be easily drawn towards it, even though we don't mean to. You feel?
So when you watch Raiders of the Lost Ark, are you thinking negatively about the film?
No.
You're just there to have a great time.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain. But I get what you're saying about like if you do bad work, people notice.
Yeah, that's when they notice you. Otherwise, they're thinking about themselves.
Yeah. But it could also be like an insecurity, because if they're pointing out something bad.
Oh, you're talking about filmmakers?
No, okay. Just in general.
Because I was saying that is vapid in the filmmaking.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Interesting.
People are always trying to be like, oh, like because I don't know. I hate to hate on the film community, but like, you know, it's always like, oh, if I know that this is wrong, that infers that I could do a better job. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can't believe they lit this that way. It's like, because obviously I could light it better. You know what I mean? That's kind of where it comes from. I think, at least.
Yeah.
But you're just talking about normal people.
I feel like what you mentioned, that's also relatable to not just filmmaking, but people in general.
Oh yeah.
It's like when they point something bad, say, I can do that.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
You know, because that's also a point of insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, yeah.
I don't know, like when I see like when I see anything that I know I can't do, at least right now, because you know, obviously you can build skills.
Yeah.
Like I see like Michael Bublé or Bruno Mars, some of these like incredible male vocalists.
Uh-huh.
I just watch that and I'm just like, I'm in like surrender mode. It's like, this is just incredible. I can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if they're obviously flat somewhere, I'm not not thinking about that. It's like, this is just great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about these like incredible films.
Mm.
You know, I watch like, yeah, it's like, could I make a freaking feature even if it sucked? Probably not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but